What's up? Alright, so the theming of this video is a little loose. You see, I've been raised by the internet for pretty much my whole life. For as long as I can remember, I've had access to some form of the internet, therefore a lot of my entertainment has come from it. And I've never fully had the chance to document or even discuss the things I really like. So that's exactly what this video is. It's a guilty pleasure gift to myself and an excuse for me to talk about some of the things I really like that unfortunately aren't long enough to make their own video. And if they are long enough, they've probably been done in by 700 people that are infinitely more popular than me. So with that all being said, enjoy this little collection of horror content I enjoy from around the internet. Online video games. Oh lord, where do I even start with you? God knows in the modern age of gaming, there's a hell of a lot to talk about when it comes to things like these. No matter what franchise or title, it feels like every game that comes out in the modern era just has to have some sort of online mode or feature shoehorned into it, even in situations and scenarios where it otherwise shouldn't have existed to begin with. It's gotten to the point where just about every single game that comes out nowadays has some sort of online feature, if not they are 100% only playable online. But I digress. The point here still stands. The longer time goes on and the more games that come out, the more the feature of online play or online mobilities is pushed towards the average consumer. This essentially means that pretty much all of us have at least some experience with gaming online, and if you don't, I don't know how the hell you found this video. It's very interesting watching as this technology progresses and seeing what becomes of the old and what creators can do with the new. Which, of course, brings me to today's topic of choice. As it would turn out, not everybody that's creating games for you and your friends to play online are doing it in good faith. Some of them use the ability to chat online with your friends to enhance the horror of the game. Some of them use the aspect of playing an online game by yourself and use it to exploit the eeriness that associates with it. And some of them are even accidental once bustling online servers collapse and falling into nothing as the people that used to play them vanished as if there was some kind of apocalyptic event. It's interesting occurrences like these that really strike my fancy, whether they be purposeful or accidental. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. So long as I can associate it with being online in one way, shape, or form, I'm gonna count it for what I want to talk about because I have 3 very specific things I wish to discuss. But by all means, if my interests don't match yours, feel free to tell me your story of things that creep you out in the comment section down below. I'll be sure to check them out in a day or two once everybody's gotten a chance to at very least reply. While you're down there, consider liking, and if you think I've earned it by the end of the video, then by all means, subscribe. Shilling aside, let's get into the video. With friends, anything can be fun. A common sentiment I'm sure you've heard at least a handful of times in your life, and it's a sentiment I would have to agree with. However, I would like to coin my own term of this phrase. With friends, just about nothing is scary. Try as they might, multiplayer online horror games have tried for a very long time to capture the fear distilled in whatever atmosphere they're going for. However, 9 times out of 10, it's doomed to fall on its head once a gaggle of goomcoffs, all of which on the verge of alcohol poisoning, managed to roll up in their Rolls Royce, all while they argue amongst each other about who gets the right to devour the half-eaten sandwich that's currently been laying on the bottom of the car floor for God knows how long. The fact of the matter is, any tension that may or may not have existed by the time these fuckos pull up is completely shattered at this point. And it's for that reason I've noticed a ton of AAA developers mostly stick to single-player horror experiences because they're much easy to balance, because let's face it, at the end of the day, 90% of horror games are nothing if it weren't for the scares. And it's for that reason it's all the more impressive if they somehow manage to make it work. And that brings me to this topic's game of choice. That game being Phasmophobia. Oh boy. This game. Where do we even start with this game? In Phasmophobia, you play as one single ghost hunter. Your objective is very simple. You're sent to a house, you're given some basic tools, and your job is clear. You need to figure out what type of ghost is haunting this house so that you can leave, claim extra money, and bonus experience for getting the specter right. However, upon entering the house, a timer starts ticking down, and that timer changes depending on the difficulty mode you play in. It will eventually slowly tick down further and further and further, and once it reaches 0, the ghost is allowed to hunt. If you don't know what a hunt means, essentially during random intervals or whenever the ghost damn well feels like it, you will engage in a hunt mode. From there, all the electronics in the house will go haywire, the lights will flicker on and off, and the ghost will full speed run to towards the nearest player. If it grabs you, you are promptly sent to the Shadow Realm, where your spirit will wander for the rest of eternity. But don't worry, you're given tools to help you on your journey. Using items like the cross and the salt, you can determine where the specter has been or even halt it off from an entire area by breaking a piece of the cross and stopping the hunt early. You're given gadgets like the UV light, the flashlight, and even the notebook, where you can use to discern distinguishing qualities of a ghost, because every ghost has 3 unique aspects, and in order to figure out exactly which one you have to deduce all 3 of them. The game will eventually end with you being victorious and walking away with a bunko amount of dollars in your pants, or your motionless body will lay cold and still and empty on the floor, and your spirit will be forced to wander an eternal maze for the rest of your time in that realm. But yeah, long and short of it, that's the core of the game. Now, where's the online part? Yeah, well, about that. You can invite your friends.
Ouija board! So, once I turn the thing on, anyone around here, Sandy's gonna drop. So
Okay, here, we'll take this.
Room, you know?
I brought you sanity
I'm
pills.
already upstairs.
Alright, cool. Thanks, buddy. Alright, get the fuck out so you don't die. What room are you in?
I got the fuck out of the house. I'm not gonna be in there when you have that shit. 3
now.
seconds away from it being able to hunt, so.
K-I-T, kitchen! Kitchen! Kitchen!
Oh, yo, it just spiked. It's a 10 on activity right now.
Oh, damn.
Oh my god, Valerie's dying! Oh no!
What happened?
It literally just popped up, grabbed someone's leg.
Oh, I know, it's the grudge lady! Fuck!
What, are you dead?
Yes, I'm dead! I'm in the kitchen! Who's sitting in the closet?
Who's in the closet?
Morris, get your pussy ass out of the closet. It's not hunting, God.
Yeah, stop being gay.
Hey, get in the kitchen. Help me.
Like you say, hey, fuck you, ghost. It'll pick up a cup and throw it at you.
Fuck you, bitch.
It's funny.
Oh! Okay!
Oh god!
I'm out of
Fuck!
I'm out. I am out that bitch, bro. I am gone.
Dude, soul is
God, the
frozen in place!
The lights
Oh,
are
no.
Well,
Okay, anyways, let's
that's
get
enough
out of
for
here.
me. Yeah, do you remember how earlier I said that 4 people will roll up in their Rolls Royce arguing over a half-eaten sandwich on the floor? Yeah, that's my group of friends. I don't know why, how, when, or who, but somewhere along the lines we all grew a pair and decided we were gonna play this game together, and it was a pretty fun time at first. But as it would turn out, there's only so many jokes you can make before eventually the spirit starts getting to you. I found that the longer we played, the more of us got rustled and the more of us wanted to leave. Hell, it even devolved to the point where some of us were hiding in the closet the whole game and even abandoning our teammates when they're trying to communicate with the ghost. Looking at you, Morse. You would think that walking around with a group of 4 idiots constantly making jokes would ease the tension a little bit, but you'd be dead wrong. Phasmophobia has a really good way of setting up the atmosphere, making sure you never know what happens next. After all, like I said earlier, for the first couple minutes you're in the house, it's completely impossible to be attacked by the ghost. However, it is still entirely possible to receive ghost events. Occasionally the spirit will appear in front of you, he'll do a little funny, and then he'll vanish, leaving you to pick up the pieces of whatever the hell he just destroyed. On top of that, there's a pretty high probability that's gonna throw stuff at you, scream at you, hell, there's even some of them that mimic your teammates' voices telling you to come to specific areas. Some of them straight up talk to you. And if that wasn't enough, there's 48 different ghosts, so you never know what their special ability is. Some of them might get super fast when all the lights are turned on. Some of them will only engage with you and the players when you're inactive or silent. Some of them will hunt incredibly fast, and some of them won't even hunt unless you're directly looking at them, which by the way, they're invisible, so good luck with that one. There are just so many variables matched with a very uncomfortable atmosphere that you're never able to fully get comfortable playing the game. Sure, the additions of friends to help you along the way is nice and all, but it's only a matter of time before they too begin to get terrified, and once that happens, it's just a very slow downward spiral. And I like it. I don't know, there's something about the horrifying aspect of never being able to get fully familiar with your situation that I pretty much enjoy. The fact that it's an online game that you can drag your friends into and have them piss themselves as well just makes it that much even better. Overall, I rate this game a 9 out of 10. I might make a video just on it in the future. Some of you might have deja vu with this one. As it would turn out, with every single online game and every active server with God knows how many people comes an untold death date. A day where the people that logged on for God knows how long finally abandoned the project entirely, leaving it just a shell of its former self. Servers that used to house thousands of people are now completely abandoned, empty, left at the exact moment beforehand, frozen in time, never to be discovered again. And while most of these shut down entirely as they quit being funded, some of them just remain up. Little nuggets of the past, block of eerie emptiness from a place that used to be active. I get the same feelings from a giant empty server as I do from a closed school at nighttime. I mean, sure, it's interesting to be there for at least a little bit, as not many people ever get to see it in the state that you are, but things just feel off, like I'm not supposed to be here. And sometimes it feels like the longer you stay, the more eyes begin to peer down the back of your head, and every now and again you could have sworn you heard something stepping with you from behind, mimicking your every step as to ensure that you don't detect it, or God forbid you hear running stomps coming at you full speed. Of course, chances are those things will never happen, but it definitely feels like it might. Once again, going back to the school example, this is entirely because you have some sort of preconceived notion of what this place should be like. It should be bustling with activity, hundreds of people going about their daily business, but instead it's completely empty. It kind of draws from that source of liminality that I've talked about in 2 of my previous videos, but I won't go into detail here. The thing that I specifically want to talk about with this is abandoned servers that hold nostalgia to the player. I think a great example that a lot of the modern generation could get behind is old abandoned Minecraft, Gary's Mod, and Roblox servers, or at least those are the ones that come to mind immediately, because unlike other online services, these never go down. Well, that is unless the creator directly pulls it, but most of them don't. That means that no matter what, so long as nothing happens to the service it's hosted on, you can always go back 1, 2, 5 years, hell, maybe even a whole decade later. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it is cool to see these places and remember your old childhood, but if you have very stark memories of hundreds of people playing this game and just absolutely destroying you, and then suddenly everything's a ghost town and nobody's around, and you could have sworn you heard footsteps coming from behind you once or twice, you tend to get a little creeped out. So yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun at all. The thing that I find most interesting about these, however, is they're completely unintentional. You have to keep in mind, when the developer made these, they never expected people to come back 5, 10 years later and just see an empty world and get creeped out by it. That wasn't the original intention. The intention was for it to be a place for people to hang out, play games, you know, the works. And I think that aspect alone also contributes to the eeriness. Again, drawing from liminal spaces, that type of fear exclusively comes from being in an area while it's in between a state that it shouldn't be. So, for example, a mall that currently has nobody in it, a jail that is completely empty, or a server that has no players online. I mean, hell, the concept of an abandoned server clearly has some merit in the form of horror, because there's entire games based after the premise. Some of you may have heard of it, some of you may have not, but there's a game called 0 Players Online. It essentially takes the form of an old PS2 era shooter, and you spawn in this little area and play capture the flag by yourself while waiting for other players to join after the servers have long since gone down. Things start off relatively normal, something stalks you for a little bit, you get jump scared, and then you find out another person joins the game and they're begging for you to leave. Overall, it's a very interesting concept, one that very heavily pulls from what I've been talking about now, so if you're even remotely interested, by all means go check it out. There's a lot of videos on it, and I think you can just get the game. But yeah, empty servers. They're creepy. So creepy that I don't want to be here anymore, so let's just move on to the next one. You really thought I would talk about online horror without talking about videos? Look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I am one of the biggest pussies out there. Despite my rapid fascination with horror-related media, I'm not the bravest individual. And yet, still, I can enjoy some of the content that these people on YouTube are pumping out. Something like The Walton Files, or my personal favorite, The Mandela Catalog, which is just so amazing. And who could forget the awesome Smile tapes, or maybe maybe Chimpy Chimpas. There's a lot of really, really good ones you can pick from. Hell, even the FNAF community got their little slice of the pie with their awesome ARG type film videos, which are just so cool. And why not throw a little bit of nostalgia in there for spice? The June Archives, which I've made a video on, you can go check it out if you want. These types of videos are incredibly amazing, especially because in the modern era of horror media, it feels like all of the main AAA producers of movie, films, and games and the like are not really putting that much effort, and that gives the time for these smaller content creators on the internet to show them what we're made of. And damn, we are made of some solid shit. We've got the June Archives, which is a masterclass in animation and 2D drawing, taking a story place and twisting and warping it with the aspect of nostalgia from a very niche audience to tell a tale of a dying world. Then there's the ever-popular Mandela catalog, which tells the tale of a world fallen ruin to these alternates that take the place of humans, and it's heavily implied that they are some sort of spawn or are demons that are trying to take over the mortal realm as a result of Jesus being overthrown thousands and thousands of years ago. And throughout the story, we're introduced to these characters and get to watch their struggles. It's very interesting stuff. Then we've got the Walton Files, which I originally thought was FNAF fanfiction, and it turned out to be telling this tale of two higher conglomerates and the result of their downfalling actions, and it's told through this very twisted, crunchy, almost polygonal 2D style that's uncanny to the eye. It looks so good. And then the Smile Tapes, which takes the Smile virus and the fungal virus from The Last of Us, combines them together and makes this spore that infects human beings and forces them into a state of psychosis. The muscles in their face twisting and contorting as their mind is slowly wiped away by the fungus, flooded with endorphins of joy to make them think that they like the pain that they're forever put through, eternally in agony as they seek out more people to infect. Stuff like this just breathes horror, and I love it. It's crazy to see how quickly this type of content is rapidly evolving and paving the way for more people to come along and fill in these gaps that the industry has left behind. Talented creators with unique original ideas who would have never had the ability to show these and present them to some sort of jury to get it actually funded are able to do it entirely by themselves and completely change the scene. And I mean, hell, just look at what they've done in such a short period of time. Not even just one individual creator, but though there have been a few that have blown up. Kane Pixels is a great example. His creation of rendition of the Backrooms is amazing. I'm not really a fan of what he did to it. I much preferred it when it was far more vague, but it would be a bad faith lie if I just sat here and told you that I didn't appreciate his work as an artist, because it is some incredibly amazing stuff, and it is actively paving the way for other people to come behind and fill in these gaps that have been left behind by the industry. And trust me, when I feel as though I'm ready and my editing skills can make worthy of what they have created, I will 100,000% make a retrospective on all of these franchises, because I really enjoy them. And I highly suggest you go check them out if you haven't seen them yourself already. I guarantee you they're worth your time. If you want my recommendation on which one to start with, June Archive is fucking incredible. It's super underrated. Check that one out. And the Smile Tapes is also pretty underrated, so check that one out. And just like that, I'm pretty much out of things to talk about. This video was kind of just an excuse to talk about some things I really like. Simply put, I needed something easy to edit, because I'm working on something new. I'm sure you noticed this little guy in the corner. This is my little channel mascot. I'm not sure if I ever actively pronounced him. His name is Mr. Leech. He is exactly what he looks like. He's a leech in a business suit. How fitting. I'm trying to get the rigging worked up for him properly, and I'm also waiting for more things to be finished, so this was kind of just a test run video in order to get things running for me. Don't get me wrong, I plan to make this video for a while, but it might not come out as good as I want it to, because I haven't slept in about 42 hours. Yeah, 42 hours at the time of writing this. So yeah, that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to go edit this video and collapse. So I'll see you on the next video. Stay safe, like and subscribe, and peace.